Hello everyone and welcome to the channel. So it's been like 6 years that I've been in the UK and more than 6 years actually. So I came here in September of 2018 and I thought like a lot of you actually who follow my channel, they would have started their own journeys. And in this video, what I'm going to do was really reflect on how those 6 years have passed by, and then will I recommend if there's someone like new, like like a young generation, I'm still young, but like a 17-year-old generation, who's looking at this video, should they move to UK or any of the foreign countries for study abroad or not, right? So I really wanted to just condense my experience and share it with people who are watching it, right? So I thought like in order to make this video the most efficient, I was thinking to divide this into 4 different phases. The very first phase was a dream phase, second is a struggle phase, third one is a growth phase, and the fourth one would be like a decision thing, which I'll tell you, do I recommend you moving abroad or not to the UK for your studies? So the first phase, which is a dream phase. Now when I thought about coming to the UK, right, it was more of like a parents thing, which was that when I was in my plus one plus two, they knew that. So I was in a military school, and I never wanted to go to the military. And what they were like, what are the other options? The options were like JE, NEET, and those kind of things. And my parents were like, instead of just doing all those things, because you need to do the coaching and few other things in order to pass examinations, they were like the best thing is for him to actually go abroad. And my mom came with this thing that, oh, जशन को हम यूके में भेजते हैं studies के लिए, because like my mom literally came to UK a while back as well, right? So she's been to many other countries, so she was like, we'll send Jishan to the UK. But now before that, I've never traveled to any of the foreign countries, right? So it was my first flight. Actually, it was my first international flight, which was literally me coming to the UK for studies, and that literally started my dream phase. I still remember like literally coming out of the Uber. There was a taxi which was arranged by the university when they were taking me to my student accommodation. I still remember it was just, there was so much of endorphins, like releasing. There was so much of excitement. I was just looking at this really clean roads, really fast moving cars, like tall buildings, the churches, the gothic architecture, those kind of things. उस time तो मेरे को पता नहीं था कि like this is called gothic and all those things, right? That time it was just like a completely new world to me, because I've never seen such thing, right? And that was literally my dream phase. I still remember my first friend, so he was Divi, and we literally went to the grocery store. It was completely different to the way the things used to happen in India, so it was a completely different experience. And then shortly after that dream phase, for like those initial few days, like 1 or 2 days, I literally hit with the struggle phase, which is, before we go to the second phase of the video where I'll be talking about my struggles, I really want to let you know about a really helpful resource, which is Amber Students. So if you're a new student who's planning to come to the UK and is looking for an accommodation, Amber Student is the perfect place to go. There's a link mentioned in the description of this video. If you click on that link, Amber Students will show you all the accommodations which are available in that particular city. So if you come into Glasgow, you just put Glasgow or London or Birmingham or Coventry, wherever you come into the UK, just put your location and it will show you all the accommodations which are available. You can book the cheapest one, or you can book the one which offers the best offerings to you, right? It might be you want to have just only girl accommodation, only boys accommodation, you want to co-ed, you can make those choice on their platform itself. The link is in the description. Please click on the link and book your accommodation as soon as possible. Is the reality check phase, right? And that was the time when I had to like make my bank account. I had to do so many things. I need to register with my NHS. There was homesickness kicking in. I used to go to the university to my lectures, but I really couldn't understand what's actually being taught in the lectures, because my university was in Glasgow and they have got a very strong Glaswegian accent, and it took me like so much of while to understand that what, well, professors were really good, but like more about like what my classmates are talking about, right? So we used to have lab sessions, and with my friends it was very difficult for me to like make friends because of this accent, right? Because whatever they used to speak about, you really need to understand in order to talk to them, but I wasn't able to understand, right, what they were talking about. So, and there was part-time job and few other things really kicking in, right? So that was literally like a struggle phase, which I was. And I think it was more about the responsibility as you move abroad. If someone is watching my video, right? So one thing, just is like in the back of your mind, right? So you need to really have that excitement phase, but then you really need to be coping up with the responsibilities which really kick in when you move abroad, right? So then I was literally trying to go out, right? And that's the one thing which really helped me out, just going out. So once I went to collect my BRP, Then I met like somebody who was doing his masters already in the UK. Then he told me about, bhaiya, aap, like, this is how you make the bank account, this is how you do your registration. And then slowly and steadily I started building a small sort of community by going out to the events, like one of the social events. And that's how like I started making my friends, which helped me to overcome my homesickness problem. And with the part-time jobs, I was never serious about really looking for a part-time job. Then I was seeing that everyone around me was looking for a part-time job, and they were like how stressed they are in order to get a part-time job. So I was like, literally for me initially it was like more for fun, like let me see if there's a part-time job available and will I get it. And I literally went on Indeed and then I started applying and I literally started getting interviews. So I was like, oh, what a nice thing, right? And then eventually I think my first part-time job I got it from Post Direct, but then for some reason it got I had to literally send them a like a sign letter back to the store, whereas I sent back to their headquarters, which basically resulted in like there was like no response from them in a way, right? So that sort of, so even though I cleared the interview and everything, but that was rejected, right? So those are the struggles which you'll face because you are so much unfamiliar with all this abroad experience, how the processes work and so on. But eventually I was able to get a part-time job in 3 months, and that's a part-time job which I continued to do until my final year of the university, which was until my fourth or the fifth year of my university, right? So that's a bit of a struggle phase, few reflections. And the other struggle thing was the culture, right? The eating habits, for example, the way you dine in. I think those are the few other things which took me a bit of a while to really catch up on. But that was struggle. And the third phase was more of a growth phase where I was able to understand how the curriculum works. And one thing which was always in my head was that in order to be successful in the UK, I always knew that I need to perform really well in my university, and that was the only reason why literally my parents literally sent me abroad, which was for me to study. So it was very clear in my head. The first priority is always going to be my studies, and the second priority is the work, right? Third, fourth, fifth, it could be any other things, which could be travel and few other things, but these two were the pretty serious ones. And those were the only two things which I literally focused during the 4 years of my university. So I taught my university. At the end of it, I was always on my dean's list of the university. Therefore, when I applied for my first internship, I literally got the first interview which I gave, literally that was the place where I did my internship. And then eventually when I finished off my masters, the place where I did my internship, they gave me a recommendation to hire. And at the end of my degree, I literally worked for that company. Right now as well, I'm working for that same company, right? So so in terms of like getting a job, like a full-time job, I would say that I was so much focused that I knew that I need to really study hard, work hard. Therefore it eventually led for me to get my job and all other things. Literally, like you hear people's story that they've applied to hundreds of jobs and they still get the rejections. So I never experienced that because I knew that I need to really build my portfolio. In order to build my portfolio, in order to build my CV, I really need to get good grades. I really need to accumulate good knowledge. I need to have relevant projects during my masters, which will eventually lead me to get the job, right? So I was focusing on those actions in order for me to get the part-time job. Therefore, there wasn't like a big struggle for me. 1, 2, 3, start. The other thing in the growth phase was literally like networking with people out there, right? So I still remember my professor. So I knew that if I didn't get the job, I'd need to still live in the UK in a way, right? So I was like, I was studious. So I literally formed a connection with my professor, and he literally offered me a PhD offer as well. He literally applied for me scholarships and many other things as well, which was again brilliant, right? So again, just be going out to your professors, form good connections with them. Secondly, with the PhD students. So when I was making my CV and the cover letter, I always took the help of my PhD students because they have already gone through that journey in a way. They are more experienced than you, and they literally helped me with everything, right? So that was more about the growth phase. And right now, the phase which I am in is, so obviously I graduated in 2022, and then immediately after my graduation, I got a job. Now it's been 2 years that I've been a proper working professional. My company is super good. I've been exposed to such a good work culture in such a young age, and I've got so much big amount of ownership for the projects which I work on, right? And I can see the real life impact on the projects which I work on, right? So which is again beautiful, right? So I think at the end of it, I guess after that 6 years of this journey, I feel like at the end of it right now, obviously the journey will continue, but if I have to summarize, right now, I have a really good job because I literally studied hard. Therefore, I got the job. I'm pretty much sorted on that one. Finances, my salary is pretty good. I travel a lot. So literally, like this year, I did 6 trips to India. I've traveled to Italy. Uh, I've traveled to so many places in the UK, York. I've recently been to Lake District. I've been to so many places. So I'm absolutely fine on that front. Third is with friends. Now, friend is the one bit which you will realize more of, as those are all of the things goes away. Then it's like a bit difficult to find real friends. Right now, I have like really really good friends, but then like really my good friend is moving out, for example, in January, right? So that's like a one phase which a lot of you will go through, right? Like even with me, who has got the sponsorship, a good job, everything, but I still need that sort of like emotional support, the people you can talk about stuff, right? Get some advice. uh, so I think like making friends is like a bit of a issue. Like it's really really tough to really find the person with whom you can connect and vibe with, right? And my physical health, right? I do go to the gym and other things. So I feel like if I look at my overall experience, it's been really really amazing. And do I recommend it to the any of the new students? I definitely recommend it. I think just going out there, exposing yourself to a foreign environment will really really infuse a lot of growth in you. Because for me, it was like I've got nothing to lose in a way, right? Everything what I have right now, all opportunities which I get, I'm just going to be big. I'm just going to climb that ladder one by one, right? So there's like nothing to lose for me, right? There's always something to gain for me. I think that's like a really really great mindset to have as you're immigrating to like a new foreign land. And therefore you see like really really good examples and the inspiration and the role models. Like you would be hearing about how an immigrant came and they've got a big business right now in the UK, for example, right? So it's about having those steps and having that mindset, having that confidence, which will eventually lead to something really really big for you. So that was my experience for 6 years. So that's my reflection. And if anyone who's watching this video and who has been following my channel, if they want to share their experience for the last 2 years, 1 year, 3 years, use the comment section to like really tell what your experience has been, so that any of the future students know about what the reality is, what the different experiences have been. Thank you very much, and subscribe to the channel and like the video.